fellow enthusiasts, my name is Christina, and welcome to another Let's Get Reelz movie review. Today is Classic Movie Thursdays here on my channel, my version of Throwback Thursdays. Today's Classic Movie Thursday I will be reviewing for you is Star of Midnight, starring Ginger Rogers and William Powell from RKO from 1935. Now you might be wondering, William Powell at RKO, if you're familiar with him at all? Yeah, he made a movie for RKO, and it is a big, massive, giant ripoff of The Thin Man. He's pretty much parodying himself as Nick Charles, and in this case, his name is Clay Dalzell. And instead of Myrna Loy, he's with one of my favorite sass masters from the 30s, Ginger Rogers. So the story is similar pretty much to a Thin Man story, only this time William Powell's character is not a retired private detective, he is a lawyer, and his girlfriend, not his wife, is Ginger Rogers, whose name in this movie is Donna Manton, and he kind of takes Donna for a little bit of a ride. Again, she's a parody of Nora Charles, or like a copy. I shouldn't really say they're a parody of Nick and Nora, they're more of just like a straight up copy of Nick and Nora. And he has to solve a crime. Somebody comes to him, he's like, oh, Dal, as William Powell's character is called, he's called Dal by his last name. They're like, Dal, I can't find my former fiance, Alice White. I know she's somewhere in New York. She ran away from Chicago. I need your help finding her. And he's like, but I'm a lawyer. I'm not a detective. Go bother the police. Crap like that. Turns out that Alice White is undercover as this like huge new stage star, Mary Smith, but she wears a mask on stage, and that's like her big allure. And then all of a sudden the guy who's looking for Alice realizes that Mary Smith is the girl he's been looking for, and now nobody can really find her. Turns out there was a reporter who had been looking into Mary Smith, whose real name is Alice White, and he was getting a little too close when he was explaining all his information that he found out to Dal. And the guy who had been looking for Alice was in Dal's apartment, and he had gone into the bedroom to hide, and from the bedroom somebody holds out a gun and kills the reporter. Turns out it's not that guy. I'm hoping you knew that. A little bit of a spoiler alert. It wasn't the guy who was looking for Alice. But then Dal is just thrown into the middle of it. He figures it out by, weeding all the characters out, just exactly like Nick does in the first Thin Man movie. His powers of deduction, that's what he uses, and he gets the suspects, to go where he needs them to go to come to him and Donna and figure this whole thing out. Now, why on earth did I watch Star of Midnight? At first, I had no idea it was even a rip off The Thin Man when I first saw it. I love Ginger Rogers. I started watching Ginger Rogers movies before I started watching Myrna Loy and William Powell movies. So I actually saw Star of Midnight on TV way before I had seen The Thin Man. And then once I watched The Thin Man and then I rewatched Star of Midnight, I'm like, wow, straight up rip off The Thin Man. But it's not bad. Like, I own Star of Midnight on DVD. I really, really like it. It's a little bit of its own. It's RKO, so it's a little bit more risque with certain things, a little bit funnier. Ginger Rogers is a tough cookie. She's not as quick and tough as Myrna Loy was, but Ginger was more... You know what? I'm gonna take that back. Ginger Rogers was a little bit tougher. She was like the smart-ass, streetwise comparative to like Nora Charles. Like, that's what Ginger Rogers' characters are in most of her 1930s movies. And even Donna, she was just like, oh, you're not going anywhere without me, and that's what Nora did in The Thin Man. There was even a scene in this movie where she was talking the case out with Dal, and then Dal kisses her and goes, smart girl, or something like that. And he does that in The Thin Man. Nick does that to Nora in The Thin Man, and then he goes, smart gal, and pats her cheek, and I'm like, oh my god, can this be any more of a copycat off The Thin Man? I digress, let me go back. So Donna's a really good character. It's Ginger Rogers, though. She makes her own character. She just has that edge to her that no other actress really had. And, you know, same with Myrna Loy. It's just like they were the perfect kind of foibles or partners to these detective characters. I mean, in both cases, they're the former detective or the person who's figuring out the murders is William Powell, but it doesn't matter. They're still great, and they were fabulous with him. I mean, I think that William Powell could have had chemistry with a broom, and he just had chemistry with any actress that he worked with. He was so good. And Ginger Rogers, I think, has great chemistry with people. Like, you can tell that both of them greatly enjoyed acting because of the way that they were able to act off of each other. Just a great chemistry all around. And Star of Midnight is a good story besides being a complete copy of The Thin Man. It did have, you know, its RKO touch. As I said, it was a little bit edgier. There was a lot of, like, little risque scenes here and there that wouldn't be in MGM movies after 1934 with the production code put in, or they would, and but they just weren't like RKO. RKO was really good at making these like risque moves, and their pre-codes are always usually really good too. So that was my review / definite rambling of Star of Midnight from 1934. If you like this review / ramble in any way, please give this video a thumbs up. Leave your comments down below if you have seen Star of Midnight. If you haven't, and you just like Ginger Rogers and you like William Powell, let's discuss them. I can talk about them all day. I adore those two. And also in the comments if you have any suggestions of any classic movies I should watch or any newer movies I should watch. Leave them there, and if I pick your movie and I watch it and I review it, I'll give you a shout out. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for future Classic Movie Thursdays and other movie reviews, because that is what I like to do here. And as always, keep watching movies and stay absolutely fabulous.